Hey everyone, it's Ryan Leonard with Wolfnest Property Management, and today we're going to be talking about some of the benefits of letting a property manager do the busy work. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of busy work that goes into being a landlord. So um, it's kind of funny. Again, everyone is so excited to become a real estate investor, and if they're doing them themselves, they realize it's really not passive income when you're doing it yourself because you are wearing a lot of hats. You're a leasing agent, you're a maintenance tech, you're a owner relations, tenant relations, maybe dealing with nuisance issues or complaints from the neighbors. You're just wearing a lot of hats, and it's not an 8 to 5 job. It's definitely something that is 7 days a week, and it does not matter the time of day. It may be a 2 a.m. emergency call, and that's not something that you can just push to the next day. You need to address that right then and there. So let's look at some of the things that some of the benefits that a property manager can offer, but also free up so much, some of that time that you should have carved out for yourself. So first one is tenant screening. This is a big one, and usually where we hear most horror stories from do-it-yourself landlords is that they just had a horrible tenant. Now, a horrible tenant usually it comes from not properly screening or not having a criteria that's high enough to vet out anything that may have cause issues down the road, whether it's something bad on their credit, or they just don't have a great payment history, but the property's been vacant for 2 months, and you're just really need some money coming in to help offset that mortgage. So one of the benefits of a property management company is really fair and consistent screening, making sure that they're abiding by the Utah Fair Housing laws, so that you're not caught up in any sticky legal matters, but also having a team to do it. I know at Wolfnest we have an applications team and a leasing team, so we can actually go through the process pretty quickly and help minimize that vacancy. So obviously tenant screening could be costly, but also if you don't do it the right way, it's going to cost you a lot of money, either in damages or loss of rent down the road. Now, maintenance and emergencies, I like to focus more on here, the emergencies. Obviously, it's the holiday season right now, and we had a lot of emergency maintenance coming in over the last couple days. I was actually, at dinner when we had a hot water heater that actually went out or was leaking at a property, and that's not just something that I said we can handle the next day. I'm on the phone with the tenant, talking with the vendors and getting someone out there to really minimize any damage that happens at that property. So if you're seeing, it only really takes one time for you to get woken up at 2 a.m. with an active leak where you're like, wow, okay, maybe it is worth having a property management company that's going to have a network of vendors too. That's the big thing, is if you're doing this yourself and you have one person that you use for everything and you give them a call, but they're out of town and then you're scrambling, that's when the anxiety or the stress sets in. So a property management company like us, we have a network of third-party vendors. They're going to be licensed and insured, and we can really leverage our volume onto those vendors and get someone out there that night, minimize damage, and get the issue fixed for really a cost-effective price, I'd like to say. Also property maintenance, the almost like what we like to call the PM, the preventative maintenance. When we do our inspections, we're checking furnace filters, we're looking for checking appliances, plumbing, making sure there are no small leaks that become big leaks down the road. Those are just standard practice for us, and if you're not having consistent eyes on the property or doing drive-bys, those are when small issues become big issues. So again, having a big network of vendors, as well as a team of logistics team members that we have, we're constantly having eyes on the property where, again, if you're doing this yourself and if you're not close to the property, you're a couple hours away, you're probably not going to be driving, once a month and checking on the property. So it's something to keep in mind that if you're, haven't been able to keep a close eye on your property, that hey, maybe it's great for me to have a property manager because my time is worth more than $100 a month. So definitely something to look into. Now this is a big one too, legal matters. I get a lot of calls from DIY landlords who are having an issue, whether it's over a lease agreement or how to handle an eviction or how to navigate all these moratoriums that the CDC has with COVID. So the benefit of a property management company. I know us personally, we actually have a law firm on retainer with us. So that is a tool or an asset that we have that we can reach out to them, 7 days a week if we need to have, to get input on situations and making sure that we're abiding by Utah Premises Act or Utah Fair Housing laws. These are all things that, again, if you're not doing it yourself, if you're paying a la carte for a consultation from an attorney, it may cost you a lot of money, whereas with a property management company, that's just something that is included in that service. So again, navigating those legal matters is definitely a big benefit of having a property manager. Next one is property marketing. Again, vacancy is usually the most costly part of owning a property. When it's vacant, you're losing, depending on what rent is, $50, $80, $100 a day while it just sits there. So again, one of the benefits is having professional photos done, having a dedicated leasing teams, showings that are 7 days a week, a leasing line that's 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. To help get as many applications through, and then also an applications team to really take on those applications, do the screening, whether it's background checks, sex offender registry checks, income verification, employment verification, rental payment history, looking for liens, garnishments. All these are all things that a property management company should be doing. And again, if you're doing it yourself, you just may not have the time to do it the right way. So when it comes to marketing, both in the showings, the listing, but also the screening is a big piece. And then lastly is rent collection. Again, it sounds like one of the more attractive parts of being a property manager or a DIY landlord, but if you're having to drive to your properties every month and collect rent and then go to the bank and then deposit and then do your bookkeeping, again, those are all things that carve out or take up a lot of your free time. And it's something that I always like to go with owners is, hey, your management fee, it's $100 or whatever the amount comes out to. It seems like a lot. Well, what is your time worth? What would you say you make per hour or your time is worth per hour? And, if it's $100 to have that property managed professionally a month, is it worth you not having to do a single thing? So again, there's a lot that goes into being a property manager. And again, your time is probably worth more than what you're going to be paying that manager. So again, we went over some of the benefits of having that property management company. Again, the biggest thing for us is just peace of mind. We love that our clients do not have to worry about their investment properties. A lot of times we have clients who've never even stepped foot in a property. They're from out of state. They've bought some investment properties here in Utah, and they've never even seen them in person. And that's completely fine with us. We are giving them, detailed inspection reports, move in, move out reports, and monthly bookkeeping that really makes them feel like they have eyes on the property each month. So that's just some of the stuff that I wanted to go over with you today. If you have any additional questions or want to reach out, schedule time to talk with me, there's my phone number, there's my email. Give me a call. I'd be happy to discuss our services and see if they could be a good fit for your portfolio. Thank you.